Hey everybody, Ben here, back in the game room. It's Thursday evening, and I decided that it's time to record some more content. Last couple of videos I've been teasing that I thought I wanted to do a video about the website Pricecharting.com. If you're not familiar with Pricecharting.com, it's a website that's kind of a database of game values, and people use it a lot of times to place an estimated value on games. And it's a little controversial in the sense that sometimes people like it. I happen to be a fan of it, but other people like to downplay it. It's not accurate enough, whatever. And I think that's sort of, to be honest, a little bit short sighted. So I thought for this video, we'd take a look at price charting, and I'd give you some information about how I use it and how I utilize the information effectively. Because it isn't perfect, and but it could still be a valuable tool. And I want you to understand sort of how I make decisions about buying and trading games and stuff based on the information I find on price charting, besides just looking it up and seeing what the number says. So anyway, if you're liking these videos, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thanks to all who have been so supportive in the last few videos. The channel has been doing extremely well the last few days. I think we've added like 50 some subscribers in just a few days, which is crazy. So anyway, as of the time of this recording, we're at 425 subscribers. I'd really like to get to 500 and beyond in the near future, so every little bit counts. If you've been watching my videos and you're not subscribed, why not? Please subscribe. It really helps. I still think it's something like, on total channel views, something like only 15% of those who watch my videos actually are subscribed to the channel, which is kind of crazy to me. Anyway, I want to do the little intro from the game room, but I'm going to switch it back downstairs, and I'm going to capture some video from my computer so you can sort of see my thought process as I go through things. So anyway, be right back with that. So while most of you have probably used Pricecharting.com before, if you're a game collector or you're familiar with the channel, it's a very popular website. I think I'd be remiss not to show off just the base site and the things on it. So very easy to find, Pricecharting.com from any web browser. I'm pretty sure I know there's an app for Android because that's the type of phone I use. But there are also, I don't know if there is an iOS app. So if not, you can just go to the website, Pricecharting.com, to get to this site where you can really get all your information. There's a lot you can do here. And let me go to the browser real quick. There's a lot you can do here. You can see, just search for a game, but also you can browse by console. If you just wanted to see like every NES game, you can pull that up, and there's all this basic information here. And then as well as some of the other things down here, the tools, which I'm really not going to get into right now, but I have used before in the past. Maybe I'll do another video on them. I think that's a little beyond this, but you can check out this stuff too, like the lot value calculator if you want to sort of total up what a bunch are worth, or lists of video games and calculator, all this other stuff. But for this video, I'm just going to focus on the core search. The first thing when we get to this stuff is it's really important to understand how the key search features work. When you're on the site and you're looking up a game and it's on multiple platforms or there's multiple versions, you really want to make sure you can distinguish that stuff, because sometimes there's a big difference. And just as one example, I'm going to look up just any random game, something simple. Now, of course, now that I'm trying to think of it, nothing will come to my head. We'll just say Mass Effect 2. So when I just search Mass Effect 2, you'll see that a number of versions come up here. So we've got all of the different consoles and even regions. So you got to be careful, because sometimes the PAL versions will come up, and if you're in North America like I am, you're generally not going to see those too often. But regardless, you can see all of the different things here, and this sometimes becomes important when you see things like greatest hits versions. So if I'm in here and I search up Final Fantasy VII for PS1, and you can see this is maybe a better one to look up just because there's so many different versions of the game Final Fantasy VII. But just on PS1, we've got the regular black box version, which it shows up as $49.99, versus the greatest hits version, which is $34.99. And these are significant distinctions. And of course, there's all sorts of weird stuff, some of which I'm not even all that familiar with, like whatever this misprint is. And like it shows the strategy guide. You want to be careful you're checking for the game and not the strategy guide or something like that. So anyway, that's the core search. Another important thing too is if you're using this search and you're looking for Final Fantasy VII, but you don't want all these different versions, you can just type PS1. And it'll show you only PlayStation ones. It also showed it is showing like Japan and PAL and all that stuff, but it does filter by console, which could be pretty useful, especially if you're not sure about what a game is. Like, let's just say for the sake of argument that all you can see on the cover, or you're seeing like a Facebook ad or something, and all you see is the word fantasy, but you know it's a PlayStation 1 game. You could search fantasy PS1 and it'll pull up basically everything that's for PS1 that has the word fantasy in it. And you say, oh, you know what it is? It's Final Fantasy 8. And I figured it out because I clicked on it and that's what the art looks like. I couldn't tell what the words were saying or something like that. So just understand how that search works, because more often than not, there have been some weird things that I couldn't quite identify, especially online, where knowing how to use the search feature really helped me out. Anyway, that's it for generic search. I want to show some other things about the site that I think are interesting and how I use it to make decisions. So this next example I'm going to show is for a game that I find all the time and is very popular, both in terms of finding out in the wild, but also like the trading, selling, picking it up. It's just, there's a ton of frequency with this item, and that's Call of Duty Black Ops 2. You find it pretty much with every Xbox 360 bundle that you find out in the wild. Like if you're buying a system with 20 games, there's a good chance Black Ops 2 is in it. It's a yard sale, flea markets. They made millions of the things. It's out there. It won't surprise you that on eBay and online, these things are being transacted all the time. The reason I'm showing this one is because it can tell us a lot about the website and how it gathers information, and as well as the variance in which things sell. So right here, it's showing what the loose, complete, new, graded prices are, etc. For most of the time that you're going to be looking, it's going to be loose and complete. I don't think most people are going to be using this to find out what a graded copy of Black Ops 2 is worth. I think that's not super useful information. But when you're looking at loose and complete, and you see these tabs on the bottom, this is showing all the complete in box sold listings, as well as a trend line, so you can kind of see this is what it's been trending at over the years. And you can see this is pretty stable. Like pretty much since 2015, it's been about a $20 game, or maybe a little bit less. And in 2017, it went down to about $8 complete in box, and has since gone back up again. This is not a totally uncommon pattern, by the way. A game comes out, is worth a lot, and then it goes down, and then it starts to go a little bit back up as people want it again. Anyway, the reason I wanted to show this is that even though the game complete in box, they're averaging it and they're estimating $17.99, this isn't always the best way to look at the price of the game. And so it's really important to dig in and actually look at the results and then make a few judgments. So these are just my interpretations. First, you can see right off the top, the last sold listing. Whoops. Oh, I didn't mean to report it. I hope that's okay. The last sold listing was for $10.95. That is a low one, or maybe this one that's 11 is another low end one. So this item is definitely selling for less than $17.99, and for all we know, those were free shipping too. We can look at the eBay site to find out if the shipping fee was included or not. But 11's a lot less than 18. So the point is, it can be found for less than that price. On the flip side, you can see some of them are actually going for a little bit more. This one went for $23.99, which is a good, I guess, $6 above what the average price goes for. So if you have a really nice copy that you're trying to sell on eBay, maybe you don't settle for $17.99. Maybe you go for a little bit higher on it. Just to give you a sense, this isn't like buying a stock or buying something where the price is pretty much fixed. The purchase and sale prices are going to be all over the place, especially for a common game like this. So just keep that in mind. Another thing to keep in mind with prices in general, especially on price charting, it's averaging into the $17.99 some probably bad information. Like for example, this listing, it went for $32.95, which is probably bringing that price up. But it says Black Ops 1 and 2, so it's actually 2 games, not 1. So again, I guess if you pull Black Ops 2, it's still going for about $20, so maybe it's not really changing the price that much, but it's still impacting the overall price. You can see even going further back that there's an item. This is only a couple weeks ago that went for $7.50. One went for $5. Maybe that was just a list, one where somebody listed it for $5 and it immediately sold. They didn't think about it. You can just see there's tons and tons of variance. Another important thing to keep in mind too is that this has a ton of sales on it. So this is showing basically in less than a 2-week period all of these sales of this item. Not every item sells with that kind of frequency. To give you an example, I also pulled up Madden 2008 here, and like on a loose disc copy, just filling the same amount of page space, we've got listings for almost an entire year of transactions. So Black Ops 2 is selling what, 20 times faster or 30 times faster than a copy of Madden. Complete in box, sort of the same deal. Like this sells. I mean, complete in box obviously sells better, but on the same amount of space, the first listing, the first sale that we have listed here is on March 9th, as opposed to April 2nd. So, fact is that even at a cheaper price, Madden just doesn't sell like Call of Duty Black Ops 2 sells for. So if you have a game like Madden, you're trying to value what like a copy of Madden goes for. It's not just that it's worth $5 used, for a complete in box copy. Really, the more accurate way to look at Madden is that it's $5 if you can get it. And more accurately, if you're going to sell it, you're probably going to sell it for $1.12, or you're going to sell it maybe possibly for $4.99. I'm guessing it's probably free shipping or something like that. So you're really not netting all that much. So when someone's trying to like list on Facebook, like, check out these 20 games, it's $100, and every game is worth like $6 or $7, it's really not that good of a deal, because those games will take forever to sell by themselves. They really need to give you a much better price if you're buying them locally. So anyway, I just wanted to comment on general about how to look at these prices and understand that just because something lists for $5 or just because something lists for $18, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what the going rate is. You might be able to do better than that. You might be able to do, you might not ever be able to sell the item at all. So just keep all that in mind. It's really worth going into the specific listings and finding out what each thing is going for. I have some more tips. I'm going to take a little break and then get into them. So for the next example, I wanted to talk about Pokmon Rocky 2 for Super Nintendo. I mean, as you can see, just looking off the top, this is a very expensive game. It's rare, it's hard to find, and it's actually a pretty fun game too, which all is a huge combination for very expensive items. I bring this one up just because I was thinking about it the other day. Someone told me they saw it in a store for like $4.80 or something like that, and my initial thought was, well, that's too much. $4.80. Looking at the price charting price on my phone, it was coming up at $4.28, and the stores ask for it's a little above average. I guess it's not that crazy above average, especially when you consider things like tax and shipping and stuff like that. But it just struck me. But the reason I wanted to pull this is that my initial instinct about it being too expensive at the store was probably not completely accurate, and I wasn't even really taking my own advice. So this is kind of a weird one because it sort of has combinations of the Black Ops 2 as well as the Madden 08 I showed you. There are not a ton of sales on this item, not because it's not popular or because it can't sell, but because there's so few of them that get listed. I mean, this is a rare game. You're only going to see so many copies of these on eBay that are legitimate, not reproduction. I'm guessing this $25 one is a reproduction. But you can see this goes back to about May of 2020. So about a year, all of the loose listings have been sold that this website captured. The most recent two sales were for $760 and $600, and that's in April and March, and those are fairly recent. Even the one from February is for $550, which are all above that $480 price point that he saw in the store. Now it's averaging on price charting $428 for a loose copy, but you can see that the market will bear $600 or $760. Now there's possibilities that these prices are not legitimate. Maybe somebody made a fake auction or something like that to push their price up or whatever. I mean, there's all sorts of weird things that can happen on eBay. But on expensive games, especially ones that don't sell much, you can't take this loose price thing or complete price item all that seriously. Here's a complete in box. It says the complete price on average is $8.79, but the most recent one that sold, and it sold 2 weeks ago, was for $1,400. Even though this one did sell for $879.95, almost on the dot, and that was from February. But you can see not one of them goes below that until December of last year. Some of these are also not accurate, right? Poster and book and shrink, $445. Authentic and tested. These are probably not actual complete copies. So keep that in mind as well. Another thing I want to point out with this is that this is the type of item where you're going to have a lot of people who are maybe looking for pieces of it. So not just the cart, but maybe the box only or the manual only. And while price charting offers these prices, it's going to be really hard to use these as gospel for what it goes for. Here's 4 sold listings for Pokmon Rocky 2 box only that it captured, and the prices range from, in 2018, $500 to most currently $138, which is the exact opposite of what you would think the trend is. If this game is going up and up and up, you would expect the box only price to go up and up and up. So in terms of saying, well, this is $189 for the box, I don't know if that's accurate. It may be worth much more. In fact, I would guess it's probably worth more when you think about it, because there's only one listing that went for 138. All of the others went for that 180 or above number. So just keep that in mind. It's probably closer to like a $300 box. Same thing with the manual. I mean, if you look at the manual, it's not like there's a whole lot of data here, and the data is so varied. The lowest price we have on a manual is $69.99, and the highest one is $307, and both of these are within a couple months' time. So within a couple months, you had one sell for about $70, and then another sell for over $300. That doesn't make much sense. It's possible that the person who listed it for $70 was just like, I think this might be worth $70. I'm going to put it up, and then it sells instantly, so they just undersold themselves. And it's maybe closer to this 300 number. I really don't know. It could be a condition thing. Again, keep in mind that these average prices are going to be a reflection of all of the information it gets, which may not actually adequately represent what the market looks like. So that's really important to remember. So for the last part of this sort of Pricechartingcom review video, I did want to talk a little bit about consoles and other items that show up on price charting. Price charting doesn't just list video games. They'll also have consoles. They even have amiibos, Nintendo Powers I've seen on there, other sort of video game related items. I have to be honest, I don't really trust price charting all that much when it comes to consoles and accessories and things like that. There's just too many things that it picks up that are varied. And indeed, even if you look at the console prices and its averages, they're all over the place, which I think is probably just a reflection of how much data it's getting. This is showing whatever this price charting system is loose for $114. I mean, I think $114 for an N64 is definitely pushing it. Of course, it's also counting as a loose sold listing and instruction manual for a system. So you can just see there's all sorts of problems. Here's a smoke gray console, which is not the original one. That would be fantastic. That sold for $66. Here's one with 2 controllers and 2 rumble packs. I mean, the variance is just all over the place, and this data is not accurate. You might actually even expect the box only price to be more accurate, just because it's a little bit more easier to reflect what that is. So I don't really trust the console stuff that much. Your best bet for consoles is to look at eBay sold listings and just see what did an N64 console like the one I have sell for recently. Same thing kind of goes for amiibos. Now, granted, some of them are going to be pretty stable. I mean, I just pulled up a random Bowser amiibo. I mean, $10 seems about right for a loose amiibo of Bowser. Maybe more, maybe less. In the box, it's probably $13, $14. I don't really know what amiibos go for all that much, but this doesn't seem too crazy. I would just say, though, that you can't really count on price charting to give you an accurate reflection on average of what these items are. That's just how it is. Bottom line is, with price charting, the average prices are going to be more accurate based on how many items it actually collects data on and how accurate that data is. So you'll want to look at the history to really have an understanding. But in my opinion, it's still an extremely valuable tool. I use it all the time when I'm shopping for stuff, just to figure out the approximate value of what I'm getting. But if I really don't know, I dig in a little bit more and I try to learn more. And then as you just deal with it yourself, you're not even going to need price charting. You're going to have a sense of what items are valuable and what could be more expensive and rare and what isn't. In general, I think, rather than looking at the price of some of these things, you might want to get a sense of the rarity of these items, because sometimes items can be quite cheap right now and then get much more expensive in time just because they are hard to find. And that's just how these things work. And that's how sometimes a game that you bought for $40 ends up being hundreds a couple months later, just because people catch on to the rarity. Anyway, that's it. Let's wrap up the video upstairs. So that's all for this video. Hope you guys liked it. It was a little bit of a different video this time. I'm trying to do more, game advice videos, things that aren't just pickups, things that maybe people find interesting. Maybe things about how I look for shelves, maybe stuff about how I make offers on eBay, etc. I don't know. What kind of things would you guys like to hear about? I'm really willing to do different kind of content. I'm not always going to find crazy yard sale finds. It's just the luck of the draw kind of thing. But I have a lot of experience and insight that I feel like I can share. Anyway, thanks so much for sticking around this long. If you are new to the channel or you've been watching these videos and you're enjoying yourself, please make sure to like the video, hit the little thumbs up. It's really important for the video to get seen. Make sure you subscribe because the more subscribers we have, the more the channel gets seen and the more I want to create content for you because I have an active audience. And of course, comment, ask questions, let me know what you want to see in a future video, all of that. Anyway, be safe out there. Probably going to try and go out on Saturday for yard sale stuff. Just going to see what the weather's like. Who knows? It's always a crapshoot. And that's it. So anyway, take care, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.